The conversation around WhatsApp's security has taken specific turns over recent years that are worth examining carefully. The conversation involves specific technical questions about the encryption that WhatsApp uses, specific questions about the policies that WhatsApp and its parent company Meta have adopted, specific regulatory pressures that have arisen in various jurisdictions, and specific actions that have been taken in response to those pressures. The resulting picture is complicated, with specific claims and specific counterclaims that are difficult to evaluate fully. I want to walk through what is known, what is disputed, what specific concerns have arisen, and what specific alternative messaging tools are available for users who conclude that they want to move away from WhatsApp. The goal is to give you accurate information rather than to advocate for a specific conclusion, though I will be clear about my own assessment where I have one. Let me start with what WhatsApp's encryption actually is. WhatsApp uses end-to-end encryption for messages and calls between users. The specific encryption protocol is based on the Signal protocol, which was developed by Open Whisper Systems, and which is widely regarded as technically sound. The Signal protocol provides strong encryption for the content of messages in transit, such that the messages cannot be read by intermediaries, including WhatsApp servers. The specific meaning of end-to-end encryption in this context is that when a user sends a message, the message is encrypted on the sender's device using keys that only the recipient's device can decrypt. The encrypted message passes through WhatsApp's servers on its way to the recipient, but WhatsApp's servers cannot read the content. The recipient's device decrypts the message upon receipt. The specific cryptographic properties of the Signal protocol make this strong in the sense that even a substantial adversary with access to the servers cannot read the content. This is the specific claim about WhatsApp's encryption, and the claim is technically accurate for the specific scenario of message content in transit between devices. What the claim does not cover, which is important to understand, is several other specific scenarios. The first scenario not covered is metadata. WhatsApp can see, and does record, information about messages that is not the message content itself. This includes who is sending to whom when messages are sent, how often specific pairs of users communicate, from what locations, using what devices, and various other specific metadata. The metadata is not encrypted end-to-end because the metadata is what WhatsApp needs to deliver the messages. This metadata is potentially available to WhatsApp and to parties that access WhatsApp's data through legal process or through other means. The second scenario not covered is the contents of messages. Once they are on the recipient's device or the sender's device, messages are stored in a form that the device can read, which means that anyone who has access to the device can potentially read the messages. This includes specific scenarios like law enforcement with physical access to a device, or specific malware that has been installed on the device. The third scenario not covered is the backup of messages. WhatsApp offers backup to iCloud or Google Drive, depending on the platform. The specific encryption of these backups has historically been a subject of controversy. In 2021, WhatsApp announced optional end-to-end encrypted backups, which users can enable, but the default behavior does not enable this encryption. And backups are often stored in forms that are accessible to the cloud provider. For users who have backups enabled without the end-to-end encryption, the specific messages can potentially be accessed by the cloud provider or by parties who obtain access to the cloud account. The fourth scenario not covered is the specific integration with other Meta products and services. WhatsApp is owned by Meta, which also owns Facebook, Instagram, and various other services. The specific data sharing between WhatsApp and other Meta products has been a subject of controversy, with specific policy changes over time that have expanded the sharing. The specific policies are complex, and the specific implications for user privacy depend on the specific users, configurations, and jurisdiction. The fifth scenario not covered is the behavior of WhatsApp when government requests are made. WhatsApp, like other technology companies, receives various legal requests from governments for user data. The company's responses to these requests vary by jurisdiction and by the specific request. The specific data that WhatsApp can provide in response to a request, given the encryption, includes the metadata and the account information, but not the message content, for messages that have not been backed up without end-to-end encryption. The specific concerns that have been raised about WhatsApp over recent years include several. The first concern is the integration with Meta and the associated data sharing. Users who are concerned about Meta's data practices generally may be concerned about having their messaging go through a Meta product, even if the content itself is encrypted. The second concern is the metadata collection. The specific metadata that WhatsApp collects is substantial, and the specific inferences that can be drawn from the metadata are extensive. For users who are concerned about metadata-based tracking, the specific situation of WhatsApp is concerning regardless of the content encryption. The third concern is the backup situation. Users who enable backups without the end-to-end encryption of backups are exposing their message content to the cloud provider. Many users have enabled backups without understanding this specific implication. The fourth concern is the ongoing pressure from governments for access to encrypted communications. Various governments have proposed, and in some cases enacted, legislation that would require messaging providers to provide access to encrypted content. The specific proposals vary by jurisdiction. For WhatsApp, the specific response to these pressures has so far been to maintain the end-to-end encryption, but the specific future is uncertain, and pressure continues to build in specific jurisdictions. The fifth concern is the specific questions about whether any backdoors or weakening has been introduced into the specific WhatsApp implementation. These questions are difficult to answer definitively because WhatsApp's implementation is not fully open source. The specific Signal protocol is open source, but WhatsApp's specific implementation of the protocol and the specific client software are not. The specific claim that WhatsApp's encryption is equivalent to Signal's encryption depends on a specific implementation that cannot be independently verified in full detail. For users who are concerned about these specific issues, the alternative messaging tools include several. Signal is the specific tool developed by the organization that created the Signal protocol. Signal is open source, has a specific design that minimizes metadata collection, and has a specific focus on user privacy. The specific features of Signal include end-to-end encrypted messaging, end-to-end encrypted calls, and specific features for disappearing messages and other privacy enhancements. Signal is generally considered the most privacy-protective mainstream messaging tool. Session is a specific messaging tool that takes a different architectural approach, using a decentralized network to handle message routing. The specific effect is that Session does not have a central server that can collect metadata in the way that Signal and WhatsApp do. The specific trade-offs include somewhat slower message delivery and specific features that are different from conventional messaging tools. Threema is a Swiss messaging tool that uses end-to-end encryption, and that has a specific focus on privacy. The specific product is paid rather than free, which funds the specific development model. The specific user experience is comparable to other messaging tools. Element and related tools based on the Matrix protocol provide end-to-end encrypted messaging in a decentralized network. The specific architecture is more like email than like centralized messaging services, which has specific benefits for privacy and for resilience. Each of these alternatives has specific characteristics. For users who are considering a move away from WhatsApp, the specific choice depends on what they prioritize. Signal is the most direct replacement for WhatsApp's feature set, with better privacy guarantees. Session offers additional privacy at the cost of some convenience. Threema offers a paid model with specific privacy commitments. Matrix-based tools offer decentralization. The specific practical consideration for switching is that messaging tools are subject to network effects. The value of a messaging tool depends on who else uses it. For users whose contacts are all on WhatsApp, moving to a different tool requires convincing contacts to move as well. The specific strategy that some users have adopted is to maintain multiple messaging tools, using WhatsApp for contacts who are only on WhatsApp while using Signal or another tool for more sensitive conversations. The broader observation is that messaging tool choice is a specific trade-off. The tools that have the largest user bases have network effect advantages, but may have specific privacy issues. The tools that have the strongest privacy may have smaller user bases that limit their utility. The specific choice for each user depends on their specific priorities and circumstances. For users who want to maximize privacy, Signal is the specific recommendation that most privacy advocates make. For users who want to maintain WhatsApp for compatibility, but who are aware of the specific privacy considerations, there are specific configurations that can reduce the exposure, including disabling non-encrypted backups, avoiding specific sensitive topics on WhatsApp, and being aware of the metadata implications. Subscribe for the next video, which provides a specific comparison of Signal, Session, Threema, and Element for different use cases, with specific guidance on which is most appropriate for different priorities. And in the comments, tell me what messaging tools you use and why. The specific choices that users make are what determine which tools have the network effects needed to be useful, and the specific discussion is worth having.